Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
All right, great to have you with us on the show today. And that T-shirt just screams loser. All right,
right.
So, I mean, really.
Top five, just not the top five you want to be in.
Hey. The last, in all seriousness, when's the last time they got out of the second round? Iverson?
It's got to be Iverson. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, because the Raptors were game 7 in the second round. Yeah, it has been 0-1, I think.
Wow.
Because they've not been in the conference finals since
A long time.
Yeah, it has. I think it's been 0-1. I think 0-1 when they went to the finals was the last time they got out of the second round.
All right. Well, all right. So, we're getting closer. You know, everybody knows the polls are out. You're probably wondering how the players and the teams reacted to the polls. There wasn't a single word about it yesterday. None. And I think polls are great for the sport in that they promote the sport, where it's going to be number 1 Texas against number 3 Ohio State in the opener. Okay. Further down, it may be, let's see, Iowa State's playing Kansas State. I think they're both ranked, right?
Yes, I think so.
Right. So, like, it's 11 versus, I don't know, I'll pick a number, 16, whatever. That part's great in terms of promoting the sport. But as I've said for years about the men's basketball poll, I said the exact same thing about the men's basketball poll. It's great for promoting the sport, but the poll has zero to do with the national championship. You have a tournament. Well, now college football has a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The polls don't mean as much. I don't know if they have any influence or sway at all over people sitting in the room. They've done a good job over the years between the NCAA selection committee and the college football playoff selection committee of doing mock selections with the media so they understand how it works. They've done a great job with that. You know, all the dynamics, the metrics, things like that. So a lot of the media, they do understand how the process works for both the NCAA men's basketball tournament and for the college football playoff selection. And that's what it comes down to. The AP poll and the coaches poll have a spot up until the last weekend of October. And then as soon as the college football playoff rankings start to come out, the AP poll and the coaches poll, already irrelevant in the process but relevant in promoting the game, go by the boards because you now have rankings put out by the college football playoff, and those are the rankings. There was nothing said about this yesterday at all on the practice field. Nothing. After practice, was it talked about? No, it wasn't. It's 2. Okay, great. I think coaches was 3. Great. You have to be able to do several things. One is be businesslike and do your practice work. Be businesslike, do your off-field work. Be businesslike and watch your video. Be businesslike and focus on winning the opening game with Nevada. All right? You have to be able to cut out 2 kinds of noise. One is the criticism. Right? Look, you'll get criticism from a coach sitting there watching a video with you. You'll also get, hey, I like that, because right? There has to be something. There may be a stripping down at times, but there's always a building up. Okay? And the outside criticism, and unfortunately this is where social media comes in, the outside criticism, you have to ignore that completely. I mean, if it's possible, and I think it's very difficult, what I'm going to say is very, very difficult. If it's possible to not read anything on social media, you are better off for it. And I mean everything: Instagram, X, message boards, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the other part of it. You're the greatest. You're incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're fabulous. Like, hey, guess what? I am the greatest. Yeah. You can't believe either one of them.
Right.
You just have to go out and just do your job. Enjoy doing your job. Get better at your craft. Okay? Listen to your coaches. You're fortunate at Penn State that you walk out there and you've got Andy Koltanicki and Jim Knowles. You're fortunate when you walk out there at Penn State, you've got Stan Drayton and you have Marcus Higgins, Phil Troutwine, Ty Howell, Danny O'Brien, Dion Barnes, Dan Connor, Terry Smith, Anthony Poindexter, Justin Lustig. Hey, you're lucky you have those people that will specifically zero in on you and help you pro and con. To go with James Franklin.
Yep. Fortunate to have some of you that have been in your shoes in a big way.
Sure.
Dan Connor, obviously. Terry Smith.
Right.
Yeah.
No question.
Deion Barnes, you're naming All-Americans in a lot of ways.
I mean, no question about that. Phil Troutwine worked his way up.
Mm-hmm.
He had to get where he is. Ty Howell was here during tough times. So, while there's buzz around the program, I would much rather have buzz than the old saying, hope is not a strategy. Jerry Valeri, somebody brought that up to him the other day, and I looked over and said, you must be new. Hope is his strategy. But hope is not a strategy in a game.
Right.
Okay? Being ready.
Mm-hmm.
Execution.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. All right? There's, if you need anything, you have a coach to turn to. If you need advice on how to handle something, there's a coach to turn to. If you need somebody to break down a video with you, there's a coach to turn to. Or there's peers to turn to. Important as well. You don't need outside help. Now, you always need outside help in that you want to sell tickets. You always need outside help in that you need donations. I mean that's all part of it. All these people who step out and donate to the program, they're vital to what's going on. Vital. Right? The people who buy tickets, buy parking, they're vital to what's going on. Not just to football, but to the entire athletic program. They're vital. But at the same time, you don't need to sit there and listen to that small group, and it's small. I know it's like, oh, yeah, I always love when it's like, how many followers you have and things like that. I have no idea what that means. But the people that comment is really, it's like the same people over and over again. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
The same people over and over again.
Absolutely.
It's like a topic comes up and there'll be like 18 people making comments about it going back and forth. I said, well, 18 compared to 107,000, no offense, is a small number. And as a player, you don't need to listen to it. You don't. And everybody knows where you're ranked. Everybody knows. Okay? And you don't, there's no need to. And I think when you have as many veteran players, Drew Allard, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, Drew Shelton, Venga Ioane, Nick Dawkins, Nolan Rucci, right? Khalil Dinkins, Kyron Hudson, right? Denai Dennis Sutton, Zariah Fisher, Zane Durant, Dominic DeLuca, Tony Rojas, Zakee Wheatley, A.J. Harris, Elliott Washington. I mean, these are all veterans.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They know how to handle. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
the deal.
Yeah, to the point we made yesterday. That's the reason you have. That's why it's critical to have retention, because you have those guys around that have been there.
Sure.
Where you can manage a lot of this stuff, and I think it's absolutely great point with the social media. It goes two different ways. I think that's something that's not brought up often. Everybody thinks of the negative, but absolutely it does go the opposite way. Where you can't do anything wrong. You're the absolute greatest. You cannot let that go to your head. There's
Jason,
no question.
This is the exact advice I gave in my broadcasting class,
and it's the truth. 1,000%.
I mean,
right on.
I told them, I said, and I refer, just as a loose term, I referred to as Twitter fights.
Yeah.
I said, some of you, everybody has a different level of emotion.
Right. And some people, again, it goes to points we've made a lot of times about clicks. Some people will literally say something with the clear-cut intention to rile somebody up. They may not even believe it. They will make a point just to rile up the other person.
Well, I've told them, I said, look, in a Twitter battle or X battle, whatever, Instagram, I don't care what it is.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Right. But I said, there's only going to be one loser.
Yeah.
I said, it's going to be you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why? Because you are the known entity.
That is continuing. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? All these other people can hide behind whatever they want and say whatever they want with no consequences.
Sure.
But you're the known entity.
Yeah.
I said, you need to stay out of it.
Absolutely.
I said, use social media to enhance your brand. Use it saying, hey, coming up tonight on 6 o'clock news, I've got a story on, and just leave it at that. Right? Okay? You don't have to get in the comments or anything like that. You don't have to do it. So you use it to your advantage to let people know what you're doing. I've been always fortunate. I've never had to use it.
No.
I've never been on it, and I don't need to use it in any way, shape, or form. And I'm at the stage in my career, I can look around and say I have no use for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Same.
I mean, whatever people think of me, it's pretty much etched in stone with them, one way or the other. And I understand that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jack. Whatever they think of Jack is etched in stone because we've done this such a long time.
Sure.
We're not going to change opinions of people about how we think by going online. Hey, by the way, I've got a game coming up. It's like, goody, tune in. Hey, we're on at beginning at 2 o'clock. Hey, all right.
Now, social media is
good. But a young
good.
person has to.
Yes, absolutely.
A young person has to, whether it's football or a broadcaster has to. But I've told them the same thing. I said, so you'll get comments on something you do.
Sure.
I hated it. You're awful. You're terrible. You should be out. Why don't you get another job someplace else? Why don't you go and become a steel worker? Something like that. Or you're going to get, I said, and what's it going to do? It's going to make you think.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right? You're a perfect example. You're much better when you don't think.
That's 100% right on.
And
absolutely. Don't think. It only hurts the ball club. Great Trash Davis told me that.
But again, you don't need to be thinking about what somebody said about you as you're doing something. Just naturally do it. And that's my point to them. So that's the criticism. Okay? But then there's the other part. You're the greatest. You're incredible. You're like
part that gets ignored by a lot of people.
You start going around going, hey, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I'm pretty good. People love me. Like, oh, come on. Just do your job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just do it. It's fine. Right? I tell them that one of the big keys to the job, contract renewals. All right?
Contract renewals and, performance-based, absolutely. No question.
I said, that's like one of the big keys. I said, contract renewals. I said, these people have nothing to do with getting you paid.
Yeah.
They don't.
Absolutely. I agree.
I said, and that goes to the players, and that goes to, I know the coaches don't pay attention to. I mean, the coaches have to pay attention to the social media part of the people they're recruiting.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
you do have to have
yes.
somebody. You do have to have somebody within your structure that pays attention to all the social media.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's coaches or players, about comments that are coming in, so that you can alert and say, "Hey, look, we got a little problem here. We got a lot of people out there saying ding, ding, ding." You know what I mean? So you have to have somebody within the organization that is aware of it. But the principals involved should not be made aware of it unless there's a circumstance that they have to be made aware of it. And so, yes, there's a lot of buzz, a lot of swirl. There are no games being played. They practiced yesterday. They're going to go today. Tomorrow night they're going to go to the stadium, and then we'll see how the rest of the week plays out. But tomorrow's the last day of classes for the summer. The last day of finals for the summer session will be Friday. So that's where they are. Texas, by the way, will be the first ever number 1 team to be an underdog in the opening game. Did you ever hear the story about, let's see, Michigan was ranked number 1. I'm trying to remember what year this was. Michigan was ranked number 1. It may have been 86. It was 1986. Michigan comes in ranked number 1. And this one they had a top 20 and not a top 25. And Michigan had to kick a field goal at the end to beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame was unranked. Notre Dame became the first team to be unranked, lose its opening game, and be ranked the next week. They're ranked like 20th. So we're up at Boston College. I think it was Boston College. And one of my jobs as the third announcer then was to do scores of other games during the broadcast. Yeah, and Gil Santos says, "Hey, let's go over to Steve Jones with scores of other games." I go through whatever, Penn State opponents and so forth. And then finally the last game, this is the second week. The last game I put up there, I said, and by the way, I said, Notre Dame has fallen to 0-2. Michigan State beat them today. The final was like 39-24 or something like that. Gil looks over, he says, Steve, I figure losing to Michigan and put you in the top 20, I would think losing to Michigan State, I'll put you in the top 10. So the next week, the athletic department gave me a couple of letters. They're obviously Notre Dame fans. What the heck are you ignorant jerks or something? And I'm looking around, I said, well, I didn't say it. All I did was give the score. Gil said it.
You also have to have a sense of humor for that.
There's so many.
He obviously did not mean what he said.
Look, okay, most people, it's funny. It rolls off their back. It doesn't matter. You've got this like small group that's vocal and also touchy.
Yes. Absolutely. Where
vocal and touchy.
Yeah. Where look, Notre Dame. In my lifetime, they have lost 3 times and moved up. That was once. Wow. Yeah. Nebraska, Nebraska was number 1, lost to them in overtime. They moved up, and the Ohio State game a couple of years ago, they moved up. So absolutely, that does happen.
Well, I've always said that there are 2 teams that if you beat them, you fly up the polls. One is in football Notre Dame, and the other one in basketball is Duke.
Yep.
Right? Oh, wait a minute. Wake Forest is now 10-15. Yeah, but they beat Duke.
They beat Duke.
They're ranked 23rd. It's like they just. Yeah,
really? Or the flip side of it, when you go back to 2005, Notre Dame's high. Who did Notre Dame beat? Well, they almost beat USC. No, you didn't answer my question. Who did Notre Dame beat?
Right, exactly. They haven't beaten anybody. They're 0-2 right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Unreal.
Yeah.
But that was always a funny story. And it's like, there were 2 letters. I looked at the 2 letters. I said, what do you think about this? I said, all I did was give the score.
Yeah.
I said, Gil made the comment. They went, oh, okay. All right, I got it. I said, would you want me to not give the score? I said, all I said was they're 0-2 and they lost. I mean, it's a crazy time. But at Buzz the ability to handle
Sure.
it. First of all, I think, and I've said this before in the show, I thought James Franklin in the offseason, because there's been buzz about this team since day one.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
So today's nothing different than it was 4 months ago. Okay, 6 months ago. Hey, they could be good. They could be good. They could be good.
Sure.
Right? Well, you have to go to work.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right? You have to go to work.
Yeah.
And they've been working. And you can see. And this goes back to what I said yesterday. Right? You have to get everybody ready. But look, there's really a core group of about 50 guys that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that numbers 51 through 70 can't crash the party, because they make you better. Okay? If suddenly every single day you're trying to maintain your spot or improve it if you can. And that's what is so important about practice. I gave you the story about the defensive tackle yesterday, a couple of years ago. He's on scout team, and they said, hey, look, you're really impressing us. And they moved him up to travel squad varsity. Like, okay. That was in mid-season, because guess what? He was playing better. Well, it had nothing to do with injuries. He was just playing better than other people. So he was given the shot.
Sure.
And, was he now Georgia Tech, something like that? Right? But, this is where, and how do your freshmen fit in? I think everybody knows there's been a lot of buzz around Darius Dixon. I got that. But he's not the only one out there. He's not the only freshman, I think, where the door is open to the possibility of playing here. I'm not going to get into specifics. That's James' job to get into specifics about that. But, there are a couple other guys you looked at are freshmen, you're like, okay. I also want to see, too, how maybe somebody squeezes their way onto a special team kick coverage, right? Something like that, to see if somebody else squeezes their way in, which, again, you earn your spot.
Absolutely.
You earn your spot. Nobody is getting handed anything, which is important, and that's how a team has to run. Look, there's certain things that happen along the way. It's not just the talent part of it, because I know I spent some time with Lamont Simpson, who is a Big Ten referee. He's one of the officials. He's not the lead referee. But I know Lamont from basketball. So because I know Lamont from basketball, I could approach him and talk to him about, hey, give me an idea of what the points of emphasis have to be this year and so forth. All right? And something that's going to be that you have to be aware of as a point of emphasis is they are really going to be on the lookout for any kind of taunting penalty, okay? Any kind of excessive celebration penalty. Now, if you're doing something on the sideline, no issue at all. But if anybody runs on the field, right, to join the celebration, or if, you take your helmet off, you know what I mean? Something like that, they're not going to tolerate it. You stand over a guy, they're not going to tolerate it, right? I mean, the Elliott Washington thing, they got wrong last year.
Yeah, very wrong. Yeah.
Right? But was he at one point standing over him? Yeah. Right? Now, they're supposed to have the ability to judge intent, right? I mean, common sense tells you what's going on. He's going back on the field because he's out there for the fourth down group. He was on the punt return group. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. But that is also a point of emphasis. Those are the kind of penalties happen during plays. But here's what you can't have. There are two types of penalties that really are unacceptable. Pre-snap, post-play.
Yeah.
Pre-snap, post-play. Other things happen. Guy gets by you, you hold him. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Something like that.
Yeah.
A pass interference.
Sure.
It may be inadvertent, but it's still a pass interference. Something like that happens during the play. mean, that stuff happens. But pre-snap and post-possession penalties, and especially the post-possession penalties. The post-possession penalties kill you.
Yeah.
Because those are all 15
swings.
yards.
Absolutely.
They're all 15-yard penalties. You can't have that. And you can have a post-possession penalty, by the way, that takes points off the board. In other words, like you're going in the end zone on the celebration thing, they take points off the board and move you back.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yep. Or the flip side, you give the other opposition a better chance at points. Give them great field position.
Right, exactly. So that's, those are a couple things that just can't be tolerated. Those are discipline penalties. Okay, those are discipline penalties. You have to stay away from those all the time. And the team that's the more disciplined team and is going to be in a winning spot. A team that has the fewer penalties normally is going to be the winning team. Normally.
Sure.
I mean, you don't want to commit any penalties, but if you can keep your penalty number down to 3 or 4 a game, okay. I think at that point, you're doing the job on penalties you need to do. James will talk about winning the penalty battle when he talks to the media on Mondays. Well, there's a reason for it, because it's important. Giveaway, takeaway is important. Okay? Points off and takeaways, important. Okay? Turnover battle, penalty battle. I mean, you have to win those because the penalty battle is a discipline battle.
Yeah, absolutely. And, yeah, you got to take care of the ball. You got to take care of yourselves in a lot of ways, too. Absolutely. No doubt about it. And that's we've seen so many foolish penalties in the game. And you talked about taunting. That's one of the big ones, without question. But we've seen people, then they openly cost you the game at times. Yeah. That's absolutely... no question about it. Those are the things that can be avoided.
Ace Bailey in the Penn State Rutgers basketball game. He plays a phenomenal game. He scores 37 points. He's the only reason they're in the game. Yet, when they're finally making a run at Penn State, they're not there yet, but they're making a run at them, and they get it down to like 5 points or something like that. And he makes a big play and gets it down to 3, and he stands over and taunts the guy. Well, guess what? Penn State got 2 free throws in the ball. So right away, boom, 2 free throws. It's back to 5 again. Penn State's got the ball. You did nothing there.
Yeah.
Okay? And then Penn State scored and it was 7. It's like, hey, great job, Ace. Right? Yeah. And that's what Ace Bailey did. Right? And it's one of those where that's what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Is stuff like that.
Absolutely, and look, it's an emotional game. There's no doubt about it. That part cannot be ignored. But there's times where you have to control your emotion. That's easier said than done, I know, but it's absolutely times where you have to always think team first.
And that's something that James is trying to drive home every single day with the thing. Okay? We love your individual play. Your individual play benefits the team.
Right.
Okay? You do something selfish, you're hurting everybody on the team.
Yeah, sure.
And that's something he has driven home. I've heard this speech. I don't know. I've heard this speech. But if I say I've heard this speech 100 times, it probably is true that I've heard it at least 100 times. Because he's right about it. He's right about it. I mean, and you're right. There's a lot of emotion out there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you spend all week, trying to get to a certain peak and hype videos and things like that. Right? And then you get out there, and especially it's a whiteout game. It's 110,000 people at night, whiteout, crowd going insane. So, there's going to be emotion. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of emotion out there. Texas is one. That's fine. It's interesting they're one with a new starting quarterback.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, but it's Arch Manning. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Let's see how he plays.
Let's see how he plays, yeah.
I mean, game in and game out. Let's see how he plays game in and game out. He may play great game in and game out, or he may have a couple of growing pains early. game in a game. I don't know. We'll all,
your
all have to see.
your first start is on the road in a tough place to play. I know Horseshoe.
Did he have 2 starts last year?
Did he? I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what he did? Yeah, with Ewers was hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, he
did.
Year.
Yep.
But like for example, was it the Georgia game in the SEC championship game? They brought him in to change up the tempo of the game.
Was that the SEC championship game or the regular season game? In the regular season, they brought him in too.
Yeah, but
they definitely brought him in.
They brought him in the SEC
title
game.
Yeah, I know they brought him in the regular season
the tempo
because they were getting crushed
and things didn't go right. I mean, so it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, no, not at all.
What's going on? I mean, and
that's where again,
it doesn't matter what number they
are.
No. To me, here's the key: be one of the 12.
Yeah.
After that,
be one of the 12 in terms of playoff, too. Not necessarily one of the 12 ranked.
12.
And there's a stat yesterday I saw. 29 of 31 years of the last 31 years, there's been a team not ranked has ended up in the top 10. So that's the more reason to why.
Of course.
Look, these rankings are great for preseason hype. These rankings are great for fans. No, they don't mean anything in terms of from the player's perspective. And that's where, and especially now, you bring up the point of the playoffs, especially now with it being a 12-team playoff. And in 1997, when Penn State was number 1, did it matter at that point? Still not really, but it mattered a little more because there wasn't a 12-team playoff. One loss, 2 losses, forget it. One loss, depending where you lose, hurt you in a big way, and that did in 97, obviously. They lost 2 late losses.
Yeah.
Hurt the team.
Right. And that's when rankings truly mattered.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Because, what's your starting position?
Mm-hmm.
I think 82 started 14 or something like that. And then they worked their way up.
Yep.
And then they beat Nebraska, which is huge, but then they lost at Alabama. But then after that, starting with Syracuse, they were able to start winning again. And they got to the final weekend, and SMU played for a tie. Penn State had a bye week. I'm trying to remember who the heck SMU was playing. It may have been Arkansas. And they had a chance. They scored late to make it 13-12, and Bobby Collins elected to kick the extra point and make it a 13-13 game, and that's how it ended. And Penn State, even though they had not lost a game, right, they had that tie, and that tie was like a loss the way they played it, and they put Penn State against Georgia, and everybody knew Penn State and Georgia should be the 2 teams playing, not SMU. In 82, I think SMU then played Pitt in the Cotton Bowl, and it wasn't like a 7-3 game or something.
It was close. It was a low-scoring game.
Like 7-3 or something like that. I was like, that's really exciting. But that's when rankings mattered. What's my starting position? Okay, here we are. How many teams you have to get past? Who has to lose in front of you? You have to keep winning. Who else has to lose in front of you? The 12-team playoff is a different dynamic now.
Yes.
Last year's national champion lost to Oregon and Michigan. They lost twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
They lost twice in the regular season.
Yeah, and that's prime example, too, of the difference of having the 12-team playoff. Let's say Ohio State loses that game to Michigan where the old format goes, where you had 2 teams playing for the national title. They're not playing for the national title.
No.
They lose to Michigan? Absolutely not. There's no way.
No. They have no shot at that point. But in the 12-team playoff, they come in as an 8 seed, and they win. And that's, that's the way it used to be versus now. Now's better. I mean, now's better. And the reason now's better is that more teams have a shot at it. But in terms of the hype and the swirl and the buzz, I am not even, to be honest with you, when you're out there every day, you never think about it.
No.
You never think about it. right? It's all about business as usual.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because when you lose that focus, you lose the focus to business as usual. That ranking really isn't going to matter because you're going to lose a game.
But again, it's been business as usual. You need to focus on what you're doing. They have been they have been a focused football team. That's great. But so the outside noise, I haven't heard much of like I mean, I've got to do all these. Let's check out these requests. Let's see, what are we doing here? Can you speak to the Blair County Chamber of Commerce on Thursday? Yes. Can you do my show in Philadelphia on Tuesday night? Yes. Can you do the Ohio State show on Monday night? Yes. Could you do Sirius XM this afternoon? I had to say no to that because I wasn't available at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and they asked for 2 o'clock. Can you do the show down in Pittsburgh? Yes. Can you know what I mean? Can you do? Can you do the show in Omaha? Yes. Okay. So this is all about, of course, where they're ranked, previews, things like that.
Sure.
That's my job to do that. The players don't have to do that. The coaches don't have to do that. That's my job. Okay? I mean, that's how I look at it.
Sure, and I think that's the way to look at it. I think that's really where
my job is just go out there
exactly.
and just answer whatever questions they ask.
Yeah.
And it's something that the coaches and the players don't need to be bothered with. I'll handle that. Right? That's part of what I do.
Sure.
Okay? They'll get asked enough questions by the media and so forth today, whomever's available today, because today's the day they're allowed to go to practice for a period of time and then talk to James, an assistant coach, and a couple of players afterward. And they'll get some questions about it today, but I don't think this is a team that cares too much about it. When you've gone through the playoff, here's the other part. When you've gone through the playoff and you've had the pressure of winning, you lose, or of win in advance or losing, you're out.
Yeah.
When you have that pressure and you've succeeded, okay, then you get the next one, win advance, lose, you're out, and you've succeeded. Then you get to the third step, when you advance, lose, you're out, and you lose on the last second field goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a heartbreaker in any kind of capacity.
You know what it takes.
Close. Yeah, absolutely.
And what the margins happen to be, and you've got to be more precise to get there. When you have players that have lived it and have it end bitter, I can tell you in the locker room last year down at Miami Lakes, Jack and I were done. We went down there and we had to go to the buses, so we cut through the locker room to get out to the buses. There was not any like, wow, we made a heck of a run.
Yeah.
No,
there's not going to be.
There was anger.
Sure.
And there were tears.
Absolutely.
There were anger and there were tears. In other words, nobody was satisfied with anything. All right?
Right, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I think the noise factor with this team doesn't work, because they know how it feels to survive in advance, and they know how bitter it feels when you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And that's especially, and that's what you want. I hate to say, that's what you want as a reaction, especially early on. You want to understand, okay, there's one champion. At some point, you're going to look back when your career's over and say, hey, I made a heck of a run that year. You're not thinking it right now because you're thinking of what might have been. Absolutely. Well, obviously, you've moved on now, but you're thinking of that. Sure. In January, you're thinking of that.
Yeah, no question. I mean, they know how it feels. So noise, outside noise, Not when you have a bitter experience to end. It sticks with you. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the unfortunate. Well, not the unfortunate part. When you lose a heartbreaker, you know how close you are. You know that you are right there. One bounce of the ball can go either way, and that's having that experience is what makes you a stronger team. There's no question about that, and that's a lot of these guys came back, obviously, to get their education, absolutely. But on the flip side, they also came back
you've got
knowing
a lot of
that,
people getting degrees. I mean,
yeah.
no doubt.
But they also came back to look, we're this close last year. Let's finish it. Yeah, I think that's it, and that's the mentality they've got.
And look, James Franklin is great at making sure people don't jump steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You're not sitting there saying, "Okay, when's the first playoff game?"
No.
The first game's Nevada.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why Bowling Green last year and Northern Illinois were valuable lessons. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. Bowling Green gave Penn State all it could handle, and Penn State had to fight in the second half to finally gain some control of that game and win. As James has said to people, he said, "Yeah, the bottom line is this." He said, "You want to know if it's a big game or not? What if we lose to them?"
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly it becomes,
right on.
And suddenly it becomes a big
much
game.
bigger game. Yeah.
Suddenly it becomes a big game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to avoid that.
Right.
People have talked about Penn State's schedule. And
yeah.
This is, okay, when it comes to Penn State's schedule, Penn State has opened the season. This is the last 4 years. They've opened at Wisconsin. They've opened at Purdue with Jeff Brom as the quarterback, as the head coach. They opened at home with West Virginia, and they opened at West Virginia. They've opened against Power 4 teams in each of the last 4 years. They have not, quote, eased their way into the season. You know what I mean?
Right.
They haven't.
Well, Power 5
they've opened.
Sure.
They have opened the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the road,
Okay.
Morgantown's not an easy place to play.
Madison.
Yeah.
At West Lafayette.
At West Lafayette, yeah.
Home and at Morgantown.
Yeah.
Okay? They have done all of that. Okay? Now this year it's like, well, look, they got to play playing. Hey, guess what? Just play.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is their schedule. This is your team. Hey, I have no qualms with the schedule. I mean,
right.
Okay, there are 3 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 10.
Top 10, yep.
Right? Penn State plays the other 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's well, and the other part, yeah. That's to that point too. You have 9 conference games that are not easy games. That's
well, you've got to play at Iowa.
You've got to play at Iowa. You got to play in Columbus. You got to play Nebraska.
Play at Michigan State. You
Absolutely.
got to play other people.
Yeah, that's the other part of it.
You got to play at UCLA. You got to go out and make the West Coast trip. They're a better team than they were last year. They got a better quarterback situation than they had last year.
Absolutely.
And for them, it's going to be it's a Super Bowl game for them playing in the Rose Bowl with a crowd that's going to be in the Rose Bowl. Absolutely.
And that's to that point as well, when you think about the non-conference games, who do you think is Nevada's biggest game this year? Who do you think is FIU's biggest game this year? Who do you think is Villanova's biggest game this year? They're going to be ready to play. You can't skip a week. That's where look. Joe Paterno used to always say such and such is a good football team. Such and such is a good football team. He'd be mocked for it. They are when you don't play your best game. And when you don't go out there and take a week off.
That's why I go back to everybody has a good starting 22.
Absolutely.
The difference is the 23 through the 55. All right? Most teams are not equipped 23 through 55, to handle seasons and things like that, but they have a good starting 22. If that 22 is having a good day and nobody gets hurt, guess what? You're going to have your hands full with them. Bowling Green had a good starting 22 last year, right? That's why the next week they went down to Texas A&M. And guess what? They gave Texas A&M all they could handle. It's just
Sure did.
right? But as the season went along, there were more injuries and things like that, and that they had to deal with, and they ended up having a good year.
Yes.
But Northern Illinois, their 22 was able to beat Notre Dame early in the season. Given day, they had their 22. As the season went, Northern Illinois had more injuries, and they ended up being, I think, a 500 team in the MAC, something like that. Now they're going to the Mountain West. Okay, we're out of here. See, even Ohio University, by the way, just as a side note, have you noticed that they're making overtures to Conference USA? And they're a charter member of the MAC. Jeez, I don't know. It's a different time.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Money rules, and I can tell by your shirt.
That's right.
You are frugal.
That's right. You ought to be.
No. Your Phillies are doing great.
Yeah, playing incredibly well. Absolutely.
One big hit after another. It doesn't matter who they play. They're starting pitching. Getting Duran. I think they have Duran for 3 more years. Right?
Yeah, I think he's on a couple of years. Yeah, and that's just huge. Obviously, the elephant in the room. You got to focus on this year and only this year, because obviously Kyle Schwarber, people are going to be asking about it repeatedly. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big free agent. He's going to get a big contract somewhere, whether that's in Philadelphia or somewhere else. But yeah, you got to focus on this year. He's playing for the Phillies this year.
Schwarber has been an impact player.
Yes.
In 3 of the 4 franchises he's been with.
Agreed.
He was a huge influence with the Cubs. We go back to that 1-game playoff between the Cubs and the Pirates where Schwarber had not played. What did Schwarber play, like 10, 12 games the entire year? And Joe Madden started him against the Pirates, and in the first inning he launched that ball into the river. Helped them win a World Series.
Yeah.
The national stop was not a great stop, but then he went to the Red Sox, and he was tremendous with the Red Sox. That's why it was to me a bitter thing seeing him leave, because look, you've got the money, offer him the money.
Yes.
But he ends up with the Phillies, and he's been great with the Phillies. There's some seasons he doesn't hit for average, but the guy just turns and bombs the ball left
exactly
and right.
If you're a guy that hits 40, 50 home runs, you trade that average. Yeah, I have no problem. As long as you're not seeing a guy that strikes out constantly. That's where the Adam Dunns of the world, even Ryan Howard at times. Ryan Howard, I think you traded the home runs for sure, because he hit 56 of them one year. But I think as long as you're putting the ball in play, your average is 200, you're hitting 55 home runs, I think you trade that very evenly. You could change the game with one swing. I think you trade that evenly, no doubt.
Yeah. And that's, and they've got the starting pitching.
Yeah, they do.
They've got the closer.
Yeah, the starting pitching has come around real well, I think, in a lot of ways. I think the guys that have struggled are bouncing back a little bit, and obviously Wheeler's Wheeler.
Right. So it makes a big difference.
Yep.
And the Mets have just absolutely. Now the Mets are going to be here. I think they're here Sunday, right?
Yeah.
The Mariners-Mets game is Sunday at Williamsport.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And the Mariners go to Philadelphia right after that, I think.
So you got Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Pete Alonso, and a disinterested Juan Soto. That's Soto's second straight year going to the game.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing.
No.
It's interesting. Soto thrived with the Nationals.
Sure.
Soto thrived with the Yankees.
Yeah.
But he did not thrive with the Padres.
No,
He's not thriving with the Mets.
And he's... Well, I wouldn't say he's on the best roster he's been on. I think the Yankees roster, top to bottom, might be a little bit better. But he's probably on.
Yet the National League's better.
The National League's better.
Yankees last year. If the Yankees were in the National League West a year ago, I think they might have finished
third, fourth. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's. But that's. It just, and that's where again, the hype can get to you. Juan Soto, for crying out loud, the swing was compared to Babe Ruth for how many years? That's where you've got to get on the field and prove it. Obviously, he's been clutch at times. He's gotten big contracts because of it, but yeah, there's so much inconsistency that comes with him in a lot of ways. Now, in the postseason, when the Nationals won the World Series, he played great. You can't take that from him at all.
He
but
played great.
The postseason,
and he played great for the Yankees
he
last
did.
year.
Yeah,
had that
great.
big home run against Cleveland.
Yeah,
whole deal. But the Padres thing,
yeah,
man, that didn't work out.
No,
and it should have worked.
Yeah, and with that team, yeah. There are times where it doesn't work out because you are in a lineup where somebody doesn't protect you in front or behind you. The Padres did.
Right, they had.
Padres absolutely had a roster that was stacked.
Yeah. I mean, and it didn't work.
No.
And I remember the tremendous hype when he went there. Okay?
Absolutely.
But then he goes to the Yankees and he's great. Now he goes to the Mets. There's certain people that have to be in the right situation as to where they're living, the clubhouse, the whole thing. He may be one of them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's different. Now Lindor is fine.
Oh yeah.
It took Lindor a little while, but the last 3 years with the Mets, he's been really good.
Yeah.
Alonso has been a saving grace for them re-signing them. But
Yeah.
their starting pitching has been
Bad.
in a slump the last couple of weeks. I mean, their starting pitching has been in a slump the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
And so we'll see. But they'll go and they'll be with the Little Leaguers this week. They'll play the game on Sunday night.
Yeah.
I get to see the aftermath a week from Wednesday. In other words, when you go up there, like with the way they do it up there is they construct everything. They go out and they put up, even a batter's eye. The batter's eye is completely different than when they put up. They put all the scaffolding, huge batter's eye, the whole deal in center field. They put up a different video board, put up their own video board, right? They construct it all at once. They can't use the clubhouses for the cutters or the visiting team because they're just completely substandard.
Yep.
So they go out and they bring in these they bring in the bubbles, right? And they put, that's where they put the clubhouses on each side in these huge air-inflated bubbles. And what gets me is, now the bubble part I got, you're going to be playing this game every year, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Right? I don't understand why they don't leave the other stuff up.
I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't understand. Now, the bubble part, they can't.
They can't.
I've got that, okay?
Yeah.
So I've kind of wondered, like, isn't it a waste of money?
You would think, yeah, that's yeah, absolutely, yeah. And from the Mets' perspective, it's the start of what's going to be a tough schedule too. They got a tough stretch here coming in, starting with the Mariners.
Yeah,
and an interesting stat on Soto hitting 190 with runners in scoring position this year.
190.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not worth 700. Not the kind of numbers that get you Well, it does get you $700 million, but doesn't earn you $700 million.
No. I never. I don't mind whatever anybody makes.
No, you wouldn't turn it down. None of us would turn it down.
Never in my lifetime.
Absolutely not.
Never in my lifetime have I ever thought about what somebody else made.
Right.
I didn't care. I don't care what I made. What I make pays the bills.
Exactly.
In my household. But if I'm running something, I'm not going to pay him $700 million. No, why?
No.
Okay? It doesn't make sense.
No.
Right?
Nope.
And who were the Mets bidding against?
For that number, they weren't bidding.
Same thing with Ohtani.
Yeah.
I know Ohtani can pitch. I know he can do it. But I would never pay him that kind of money. That's absurd. When you have that, like, what's interesting about
and if you don't pay Ohtani that, you're not paying anybody that.
Okay, but here's the other part. You know what's interesting about that? All that money, of course, is so much of it's deferred.
Yeah,
because he's getting like $2 million a year.
Yeah.
The current ownership, when the deferred money comes up, in all likelihood will not be the ownership.
That's true. Yeah.
Somebody else is going to have to inherit.
Be on the hook. Yep.
Yeah. Cohen, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Cohen, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
He may still be there. But the experience of this year may sour him on it.
That's for sure.
There you go. All right. May have been one of your better shows. No, I'm going to keep your verbiage to a minimum. No, I'm just kidding.
That's right.
But yeah, a lot of fun back tomorrow.